Welcome back to another episode of Fighters Drinking Coffee. We are your hosts with a combined 40 years of grappling experience.
Scott Dance.
And Michael Sutherland. I know I've had times when I didn't enjoy doing jiu-jitsu. Partially, I mean, we'll get into reasons. Scott, I'm sure you've had, a time or two where you're like, I don't really like doing this.
It's hard. It's there are days where I'm like, dude, this is a very painful practice. Why do I subject myself to this shit day in, day out? But I keep doing it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. There are rockier roads.
Yeah. I mean, admittedly, mine wasn't specifically jiu-jitsu. There was and this is important, there was like a greater frustration with MMA and kind of like some of the events that were occurring around that. And like when I was doing my MMA career, people not showing up, cutting weight, right? Like that kind of led to like a bad relationship with the sport for a little bit. And I just had to I personally in that case had to reset.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I was just running into like, dude, I can't keep cutting like 25 pounds and then no one shows up and I don't get to do the fun part. Like just camp after camp after camp, weight cut after weight cut, nothing. Like, and then, so really it wasn't the jiu-jitsu thing. It was just,
But the training lifestyle was getting rough.
Yeah. The cycle.
The rewards were not there.
The road. Yeah. There was no reward. It was all damage and risk. And so like that's what caused mine. But ultimately there's some friction that occurs, right? Like that's usually what leads to this, and identifying it and how to remove it or remedy.
Renew your vows.
Yeah, renew your vows.
Your
like
first
that.
and only love, jiu-jitsu.
Because ultimately,
not only.
We still love each other. I still love jiu-jitsu. I love it now. I figured it back out.
Yeah.
And like ultimately, like I missed it while in like the periods of time where I wasn't doing it. I became very sporadic, and that was kind of, I think it probably helped in terms of falling back in love with it, which is what we're talking about today. But I want to try to save you guys the pain of that separation period. This divorce thing, this divorce analogy is going to make it more fun for us.
Yeah.
But that way, you guys can we'll save you from that like loss of training time.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of expedite getting back into the flow of things. And because I became inconsistent, like a bunch of other factors, which we don't have to get into, but ultimately like it just made my training inconsistent, sparse. And it was basically like I had to get rust knocked off when I came back to it. And finding out the friction points is what's going to help you resolve this. So let's get into it. Scott, what you got for me on that?
Maybe I'm not the best person to talk to about this. I have had...
Scott's in a stable relationship with jiu-jitsu.
I think so. I'm in a pretty stable, committed relationship.
I'm sure you've seen people.
Yeah, well, I was going to say for myself, yeah, definitely, man. I've seen people come and go throughout the years lots and lots of times. And great jiu-jitsu practitioners who had tons of potential, sometimes incredible talents, who they lost their juice for it, man. They didn't just stop being valuable, I guess, to them, who quit. So it happens. And what I was going to say for myself was that there have definitely been times where it's not always like super fun in quotes, or it's not as exciting, or it's not as rewarding. But I always kept doing it, man. Have I told this story on the show? I dated the girl many years ago, and that relationship way long gone. But I remember there were conversations about like how often I was doing jiu-jitsu and it was causing problems, and that she lost that battle. But and it's just like a funny. I make a quip on it. It's like a funny little anecdote related to. I guess what I'll say about continuing to do it throughout life's complications. There's always complications. And I make that one, I tell that story in jest. Wasn't a bad lady or a bad breakup or anything, but like, it ended And there, I think that could have caused some friction, like you mentioned, friction points. I guess it was causing friction, but it was like pretty easy choice for me. I'm like, well, this is what I'm doing.
It's like, well, I like this more than you, so
it doesn't
not exactly
not a relationship show, but we could do this too. We certainly could talk about this concept. But you know what? Sure. Well, let's kind of do that. Yeah, like on that thread, or if maybe there's something of value for people to listen to as it relates to that storyline. This is what I do, man. That was truly a minor bump on the road in the many years that I've been doing this. My long-lasting relationship with jiu-jitsu, my committed marriage to it. There's gonna be like friction points in your life that might come up that could tempt you perhaps to steer away from it. The training lifestyle, the martial arts, jiu-jitsu, whatever. I was going to call it commitment, but like just having some sort of relationship with it. And what I would tell people is like I think it's like an internal choice that you make, like to just continue to practice it. I think we just spoke. I mean, everything we talk about on the show is about like just continuing to progress and continuing to I guess to reap the rewards of choosing this lifestyle and like what it can provide for you as a person. And I say that with respect to the fact that like there are people out there who like have real life, like significant counterbalances that they have to respond to, like a wife and kids or a career. And so what I admire about people who I know who have also been training for many years is that they'll I'll just pick an example, like, or at least an archetype of a guy or people that I know that I've interacted with who will have legitimate challenges in life that they have to respond to that might, if it's like a 4 or 5 or 6 day a week training partner kind of guy, and something comes up or they get injured or like something happens and they're obligated to handle these other aspects of their life. Like they have to. There's nothing wrong with that. That's good. Do that. Like take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your life. But what I admire about these guys who like I can tell in their core, like they're not leaving jiu-jitsu. They may have to temporarily backshift it, downshift it, like adjust from 4 or 5 days a week to like 2 or 3. But they stay the course. And like, I think that's okay. I think people are going to have, and by the way, maybe it fits this, maybe it doesn't. I think I would actually argue for this type of dude, this type of person. It's the love of the game that keeps them from quitting. They're like, you know what, dude, this is going to suck, but I got about 6 months of like some things I got to handle. But once I handle that, like I'm going to get back to doing my 6 days a week of jiu-jitsu or, 4 or 5, like a lot, like a high velocity of it. And that may mean that for 4 to 6 months, I'm going to have to try to sneak in once or twice a week where I can, but big picture, it's going to put me in a position to be able to do these things again more. Because things are going to happen. What's tough is when I guess the core of this subject matter is when people are like truly like losing the flame for it. And maybe that's, I'll keep going until you want to jump in, man. Be my guest.
Well, I've got something on like the outside obligations, right? Yeah. Like, cause I mean, I became outside of like having to, I probably had just refigured out how to enjoy jiu-jitsu again, but I also was starting a family and like all this other stuff around the same time and trying to like start a career and manage Nova and coach at Nova and train, and like it all kind of like crashed. Like that was a lot. I was trying to do too much.
Yeah.
But ultimately like that became like, all right, I'm just going to train when I can. And like, I got to figure out how to do this work thing and get paid and, have money. And like, it was just like there was a perfect cocktail there for me. But like, yeah, like you said, like you do have to acknowledge your outside obligations. Like don't let jiu-jitsu get in the way of
derailing your life.
Yeah, like living a life. Yeah. Like it should be part of it. And like we've talked about balance before, and like we've talked about obsession. We've talked about addiction to jiu-jitsu. God. But it's not like I say it every day. But we've talked about these concepts, and you still have to live your life around it. Like, it needs to be part of it, not your life, right? I mean, I think it can't be the whole, like, it could be the whole thing, right? Like, and that's fine too. But if you have other
parts of life,
if there's other aspects to your life and your existence, like, you do have to manage and acknowledge and handle those things. Otherwise, it's taking over, and there's some other things to look at there.
I was talking to a guy the other day, who was, I've known this guy for several years. Good dude. His coach, former competitor, I think had some competition experience, and went through a couple cycles of like challenging, like cultural experiences in jiu-jitsu. Nothing like crazy, just like negative experiences that he was. I think he's kind of going through this life cycle, and I tried to tell him, like, you know what, take care of yourself, take care of your life. Like, he said some life transitions, but try to find a home for jiu-jitsu where you can, man, because you've been doing it for like, I've known him for like 7 or 8 years. I wouldn't say I know him crazy well, but like I know him well enough to know that like he's invested a good amount in this, and this has a role in his life in some capacity. And I told him, I was like, look, dude, like, take care of your thing, like, take care of yourself. I know, like, this stuff can. The world of jiu-jitsu can, depending on how deep you go into it, like, if you get like dragged into like cultural or like political issues involved in jiu-jitsu, which is something, maybe that's a subject for another day. That would be
the dark side of jiu-jitsu. It's actually beyond that, dude. I know what you're talking about, though. I know the
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I think he just had like a few negative experiences. He told me, he was like, man, I just don't. It's like, he's like, I'm not like, I don't love it that much anymore. And I'm like, I get it, man, I get it. But like, I try to nudge him a little bit, like, don't quit though. Like, you downshift it, take a break, like, but find a realm in your life to like continue doing. You've done a lot, and it'll pay off for you as time goes on. I mean, I totally understand and respect how some of the, call them dark sides, just like the challenges of like people interacting with people, and how that can weigh on you, and if you associate the negative things with this world, it could be like you might want a break, and I get that, and I respect that, and like, if you need the break, take the break. But much like what I was saying earlier about the guys who like kind of go through transitional periods in life, with like I'm going to continue doing this, but like I may need to downshift it for a while. I'm like, I would encourage that approach of give yourself the break if you hopefully believe that one day, and maybe that break won't even be that long. Maybe it's like 2 weeks, but like whatever. Maybe it's 2 months. Maybe it's a year. But I would encourage, because I think this as we've talked, we're on the record pro jiu-jitsu. We know that. I would say I just my call out to this guy, just having like a casual conversation, was like, man, like figure your shit out, dude. Do what you got to do. Like, cool off a little bit, and then like come back to it, because I know it'll be good for you, man. Like you're in too deep. I know as long as I've known him, he's been training. So I'm like, man, like there's value in our community to you doing it, and to you personally. So like, figure it out, man. Do what you got to do. I totally respect like the headaches that you'll have sometimes. But weather the storm and try to stick with it, because it's worth it, in my opinion.
Well, I'd say to someone like that too, like, don't be that deep into it. Like,
that is also value. That's a good call out, Mike.
Because that's a big part of why I've left. Like, why I've left the places in my career outside of jiu-jitsu. But like, that was a bit. I mean, actually, partially. Partway, that did have a little bit of a play in like the Nova MMA thing, but like, if you get too invested in other people's shit, to where like their stress about their stuff is starting to bleed over, because like you've become so deep into it, it's gonna make it hard to enjoy those things.
Totally valid.
I mean, like, less so with jiu-jitsu. I mean, more so with. That was more of a reason why I was like, well, I need to find another job. This shit's doesn't seem like it's going to be working out.
Yep.
But like, getting so invested in like, to where you start to feel like, well, I care about their shit more than they do. You probably need to step out of that, right? Like, that's probably, or if their shit's affecting your life, like, you just need to take a step back, because it shouldn't. That's their issues, their stress, if it's like, hey, like they're having all these issues with their business, they're having all these issues with, you know, X, Y, and Z. They don't like these people. So like, and now it's starting to like twist my shit and I wasn't even involved in that. Probably, I get that. Like, I can totally understand, like, if that, I don't know the full situation, but I think you're on the right.
And quite frankly, I don't know the full situation either. Yeah. I don't really want to because I got enough of my own bullshit to do. Yeah. But dude, that's a great point, man. Which is, and on this is, it's relevant to this thread, which is like, figure out like where, like you said, I think that's a good opportunity for someone to like, to be self-aware and say like, what are my boundaries for like how much I'm willing to, call it culturally, maybe it's emotionally, like invest in this. We can say the martial art, but it's like the martial arts plus the community plus the people plus maybe the business of things too, where like things do get complicated and you get involved with like people and personal ambitions and emotions and shit, and they can go awry. And that you're right. It's a good moment to say, you know what, like maybe I just want to be on the mat. I don't want to be involved in that type of stuff. And like you can do that. So I think it's a good moment for someone to kind of take stock of where they're at and say, man, what are the things I really like about jiu-jitsu? Okay, I like the training. I like the fun people that I meet. I like making friends. What do I not like about it? I don't like the cultural, like getting in too deep. I don't like the politics of it. I don't like all the nasty stuff that people say behind people's backs. I don't like competing because it stresses me out. I don't like weight cutting. Okay, well, I can actually avoid things I don't like and do all the things that I do like. I'm going to set the right boundaries and find a home for this martial art in my life that just checks all the boxes, but just keeps me out of the areas that, like, quite frankly, I don't like. So I think that's a good point, man.
And so like when I was thinking about, when I was working out the outline for this topic, I was thinking about like the friction points and the things that those like cause inside of you, right? Like they might cause inside of you. And I was thinking of like a few key points: stress, fear or anxiety, I guess might be those are the same thing, like same realm there. Boredom. Those are the big three I came up with. So like stress, fear/anxiety, and boredom.
Maybe physical injuries.
Yeah, that can
those
be
are all
one.
really, I think those are deeper, probably more salient versions of it. But I mean, say maybe there's a practical thing. Like,
well, yeah,
I don't have money to train. / I also I've broken every bone in my body. I can't keep doing it as like legitimate things.
Yeah, I mean, so there can also be, so those are like I guess the stress, fear, anxiety, and boredom are like
common barriers,
internal thing. But yeah, there are external friction points, which would be relationships, injuries, financial stuff, right? Like those are harder to deal with. Like those exist, and you just got to deal with those head on.
Right.
I can't necessarily help you with your injuries.
True.
At the point to which they're causing you to quit, right? Like, hey, dude, like, I don't know, you got to work those out. Your financial stuff, can't help you with that.
Same.
Not my area of expertise, and like your relationship stuff. Like, I'm not going to try to help you with your That's just not. I'm not going to try to do
You're
that.
not qualified to do
it.
Yeah.
I don't need that. I don't need that on me. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so like, yeah, the stress thing, dude. Because one of the solutions is change the scenery, right? If you need to get somewhere else, like if wherever you are is stressing you out to the point where you are losing your love of the sport, like you need to find somewhere else, and that it might take a couple tries. I mean, because it sounds from, I think what you were saying is this has been a few different places or a few different instances. Is that what you were saying?
Oh, that dude?
Guy? Yeah.
No, I don't need.
Now we have an example.
No, I don't know enough about it. I just know that he just. My only point of bringing that up was just, I could just tell he's like having this kind of crisis of like, maybe I need to take a step back.
Yeah. Which
is probably the right choice for him. Take a step back. But like, all I was saying was like, just keep like maybe one foot in for a little while. Don't like completely close the door. Figure out what the right fit is for you. I don't know. I don't think it's like some major thing. I think it's like just a personal.
Just need a break.
Yeah.
Which, you know, that can be an answer, dude. Like taking a break.
Yeah.
And
make it fun again. Keep it simple.
Take a break. I mean, it could even be like, hey, dude, like set yourself a timeline. Be like, I'm going to step back for this amount of time. If you need like full, like clean break, especially if it's something related to the place that you're at, full clean break. And say, I'm going to find a new place over this period of time. I'm going to go. That way you don't like run into the issue of like I need to go. Could go find a place, or I don't know. Like maybe I'll find this spot. Like, and then you're kicking it, keep pushing it, kicking it down the road, kicking it down. The road. Like, give
Make
yourself
a decision is what you're saying.
If you want to keep doing it, like, yeah, go ahead, take the break, but give yourself tell yourself how long you're going to do it for, because then if you make it intentional, then you will be able to go back to it a lot easier than if you don't.
Right.
I mean, my main barrier to getting back to it was I was ready to go back to it. COVID hits. We moved far as shit from everywhere. It was a little bit harder.
So a little logistical.
Yeah. There's also
literally how am I going to do this?
Yeah. It's I literally can't get to a gym.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, there's other aspects to it.
Of course.
So I was still popping in over DMA and stuff before I moved out here.
Yep.
So, there is logistical issues that can exist too. And sometimes shit just has to fall into place right to where you can get to a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And, that can be the case too. And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But boredom, I think that's a good one. I think that's probably the one. Stress is definitely, but I think boredom probably
the most common
is the most common. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People just, it's either they feel like they're not progressing. They feel like they're never going to get, I'm just going to be a blue belt forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just kind of, that leads to some sort of boredom situation, or you feel like you're doing the same thing every day. And there's no change it depends on the way your training is structured. That's sometimes, but you just feel like I'm just not getting the dopamine that I used to get from this. Ultimately, right?
Yeah,
that's what boredom would be.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what, because that hits
thread,
you
man.
A little bit too, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Insofar as there's definitely days where it feels like you're just going through the motions. I think for the boredom one, it's complicated, but I'd say the boredom one comes down to, I'd say first and foremost, the individual feeling that boredom does have. We just kind of talked in the last episode. There are things you can take account of. You can control that.
Yeah,
you can control and reframe the way you train. Now, as I don't know, let's just say it's a blue belt or something like that. You said the guy who's man, I'm going to be a blue belt forever, or sometimes blue belts just do this because they get to a point where they've seen, maybe they've been at one academy for a little while. They've gotten some exposure to what the martial art is, and they've kind of it's their first, they hit that first plateau of, like you said, the dopamine starts to dry out or stall out for a little while. I would, number one, say that there's so much more. You got a lot more to go through. I think that's an opportunity to kind of reframe what you want to get out of training in that environment that you're in. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to leave that place. Maybe you need to think through how you approach it a little differently. Basically, in line with what we discussed earlier, maybe just change it up a little bit. Maybe you need to try out a different outlook on the training sessions that you're going to, and that sometimes that's the fix. There's a balance between, I guess, as a coach and an academy owner, it is something you need to be aware of, that you could look at this like a business thing, for retention, how are we going to keep our folks engaged throughout time? And it's not enough just to bring someone in and sell them on a membership for 6 months to a year. That's great, but you want people to stay for 6 years. You want people to be wanting to come back. So you do need to consider how fresh and exciting you make your product. And I do think ultimately that responsibility does come down to people in charge of a program to make it enticing as time goes on, especially as your customer's psychology adapts and changes over time, because it does. And now, all that said, that's just kind of I guess, because I have these different hats, that's something that a business owner and a head coach should spend a lot of time thinking about. Well,
and as an example on that thread of maintaining that engagement, because I do very long blocks of the same, I in my classes I teach, I do very long blocks of the same position or something like that.
Yeah.
4 to 6 week blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that this can be very monotonous, and they like it because they feel like they get better at the position, but I also understand that hey dude, we're doing the same thing every week, for 6 weeks. I understand that can be boring. So, it's a minimal amount of time, but it's 10% of the class. So 6 minutes of that first 6 minutes of the day. Hey dude, grab your partner, work on whatever you want to work on, try something new, whatever. I do say if you only have 6 minutes. So if you don't know what to do, sure, just go work on the other stuff we've been doing. And some of them do that. But, I try to you try to mix things up and still reach the goal, like as the coach. That's what I try to I try to at least keep something exciting. So it's a little bit different, even though we're doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's our responsibility as coaches to try to handle that challenge, continually, the word that comes on is entertain.
Yeah.
To keep it and it is our job as coaches to do that. But
those in the CLA realm would say provide novelty. That's they use the term novelty.
Okay. That works. Yeah, you could say that. But sure. But yes, you need to, because it is a big picture thing. You want people to I think that part of the job that you're doing there, that I'm doing, is part of that is it's reminding people why you'll do some of the, perhaps maybe the more, and this is it's the mental framework. You're trying to guide / steer people to understand why you're having them do the same things over and over again, which is, to your point, trust me, this will work, man. This stuff, it's like practicing your multiplication tables when you're a kid. Yeah, it seems like homework sometimes, but it's going to make you good at math. It's going to make you good at the task you're providing. So, and I think most adults get that, but it sounds like you have a good approach towards where it's part of what you're doing in the class. It's not the entire class. So it probably balances out well. And I'm with you insofar as I do believe that if you want to master these skills, sometimes you have to do fewer skills, but spend a little more time on them. But if you're, as you said a second ago, if you're engineering your hour and 20 minutes or hour and 30-minute class, if you have the right amount of time, you can balance all of these things where you get some consistency, some of the novelty, practice the novelty, and then go out and let them play.
Yeah.
The game, the drill, the CLA game, whatever you want to call it, or sometimes sparring rounds. If you structure the right class, you can sort of check all of these boxes. But yeah, and here's the thing. It's a tough, elusive thing. You don't ever really know if you have it completely figured out. And that's why it's a fun job. It's a lot like jiu-jitsu. When I said I'm describing the job of being a coach.
Yeah.
You can feel you're thinking about it, and you're focusing on this challenge of keeping people engaged and giving them the right amount of novelty balanced with the right amount of utility, homework. I call it homework, or eating vegetables to do the things that we just got to do that may not seem fun, but they're worth it. I think you get the right students, they get that. But the thing about students, they don't always, they're still customers, man. So some of these guys, I always appreciate people who give me really raw feedback. And if you're listening to this and you're one of my students, please tell me. Which is a double-edged sword, because sometimes you'll get feedback from someone, you're hey, you don't actually fully understand why I'm doing this. I do know more about this martial art than you do, but at the same time, your feedback, you're a customer, man. So it's important. They make the decision. I need to receive their feedback and not just throw it out, because I'm what the fuck do you know? I've been doing this for 21 years. It's a challenge, because I have been doing it for 21 years, and I can tell them hey, trust me, as an authority on this, I have a reason for doing it. Nonetheless, I have to hear what you have to say, because I want you to stick around. And if you're just not having fun, and if it stops being enjoyable, and you're well, that gym over 20 minutes away does it a little bit differently, and maybe we'll go there for a little while. That sucks if I lose that customer.
Yeah,
it's not the worst thing in the world. Sometimes people boomerang back around, or sometimes they go I'm close with enough really good instructors who own academies here that honestly, I don't mind it when they go and they leave. I'd prefer to keep my students, but if I have a student that goes off to one of my buddies on the street, hey man, they're going to another really good dude. I like that guy. He is a good coach.
It's not you don't like the person.
Yeah.
It feels a little less personal.
It's 100%. And that's happened. And I could list the names of friends who own academies they've had dudes who've left and come to me. And it's it works out in the long run.
Yeah.
And so I say all that to say that we can feel we're doing our best to provide that balance of novelty and functionality. And we think about it a lot. We obsess over it, and we still never really master it. And people just don't necessarily respond to that. Maybe it's just they just don't respond to the way you teach, and then they go somewhere else. Maybe we're going deep down a rabbit hole on that thread.
I think that all that is kind of to say for you, the listener, right? If one thing you can do, because obviously we can control as coaches, we can control that from the coaching side. But outside of what we already said for, the stress thing and changing your scenery, outside of that, like you could bring it, feel like, hey, like I'm struggling with this right now. Like I'm struggling with feeling excited about training again. Like you can tell your coach that. They might not like it, and that's okay. That might tell you that, maybe I should go somewhere else. So that's fine. But, I ask my guys.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all to coach that. Actually, I think it's a really good thing.
I'll send them polls. Like I have a group chat with all of my students, and I'll send them a poll, be like, hey, do you, we've been doing it, we've been doing a certain form of training, and I just sent it out. I was like, John kind of prompted it. He was like, maybe people don't like the way we're doing it. I sent out a poll. I was like, no, they still like what we're doing. I think they were just busy, and so like, and if I feel like, and it's really, I guess it's just like someone didn't show up, or a couple people didn't show up like a couple times. Like, do people not like class? So, I'll send them a poll and be like, hey, do you guys what do you guys want to do for training? But you can initiate that as the student if you like. You can go up to him and be like, hey, like, I'm just not having fun.
I think it shows that the coach cares.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. And if you're a coach, and by the way, this conversation has shifted over a lot more to the coaching perspective. I think ultimately we're trying to
pull it back a little bit.
I know. But I think it is I think it's important if you're a coach to like, you have, this is your responsibility. Like, yeah, you got to you want to keep people engaged. You want people to stay on the mat. So if they're not, it's actually a good thing to be like, ooh, attendance has gone down a little bit. I wonder what's going on. Sometimes it's like attendance goes down because it's spring break, man. And you've got you're teaching a lot of moms and dads who are
season.
Sports season. They're like, yo, my kid's got soccer 6 days a week. You're like, okay.
It's like, I was at soccer practice till 9 p.m. I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m.
He's like, trust me, I'd love to come. I'd just fucking running my kid around town. Like, all right, got it, man. I don't control that.
Yeah, appreciate the feedback. It's, it's work shit. So, it's
sometimes you're fucking up, like you said.
And sometimes you're fucking up.
But you care to know the answer.
Yeah.
Now to reframe this back over to the student, all of that to be said, you're like the coaches are trying to provide a format for training for a reason, and to the best of your ability, if you maybe the more you understand that. I mean, look, it's ultimately you're a consumer and you get to make a choice insofar as where you spend your time and your money and who you train with, and you get to pull the trigger on saying, you know what, I think it's time for me to try another academy. Look at, say, big picture for the person who's in that position as a student. Keep training, man. Whatever keeps you on the mat, ultimately, because this was rooted in falling in love with jiu-jitsu. I promise you, like I said, I'll just last thing on business owners and head coaches that I know. I promise you, some of these guys who have been in some situations like mine, where people will come and go. They're ultimately maybe a little bummed out they lost a student, but at the same time, they're
I'm sure you get hard into it eventually, right?
Exactly. You get used to it. It happens. And I think for the most part, we're all just pretty happy to see that at least the training path they had with us, got them to a point where they're like, no, I'm going to keep training for sure. I'm not quitting. Which we were a part of. We were part of that person saying, yeah, this stuff is awesome. I just think I need to make a change, or, hey man, I'm moving. And it's going to be tough for me to get here, but there's a place right across the street from me, man. What do you think of that place? Yeah, go train there. Just keep training.
Yeah.
I've told that to so many people throughout the years. They move different cities. They want to change. Just stay on the mat, dude. Yeah, I'd love you to stay with me, but if it's not the case, just keep training.
Because ultimately, they just stop. If they stop altogether because they aren't training at your gym anymore, that's even more of a waste of the time that you spent with. Both.
Well, you want to have an impact. You want to have that impact that keeps someone to the core of this for the student, for the consumer to stay. It may not always feel like love. Yes, it may not always be love, but it's
it's sometimes it's a situationship.
Sometimes it is a situationship, but you want them to we do want our students to have had such a good experience that if the time has come for them to stop doing it with you, they're going to continue doing it elsewhere.
At least they enjoyed it enough at one point.
Yeah, and that's this is about the student at the end of the day that we're talking about here. My last thing related to all of that was, if you're a student and you're kind of just maybe trying to understand the psychology of your coach as to why they're doing things that might feel kind of boring to you, I'd say seek to understand why they're doing it. Maybe talking to your coaches or to your head coach to understand the pedagogical, I haven't said that word in a while.
That was an episode too.
That was, the pedagogical framework might kind of fill you, it might educate you, like, oh, dude, well, now that I know his or her approach as to why they didn't do this, that kind of makes it, that might reinvigorate you. They might be like, oh, dude, that makes sense. So maybe now it's not as boring if I reframe, like, I did hip escape so many fucking times. Like, well, yeah, you got to keep doing them, man.
It's like, yeah, because otherwise, if you stop doing them,
what I always, we've talked about this on the show, but what I used to say, and I still kind of say versions of this now to myself, is like when I do the same moves in practices, like we did back mount when we drilled this morning. How many times have we done that? A million fucking times. Well, hopefully I tell the story and it resonates with my students, and most of them won't even know this name, but I'll jokingly ask my guys, I'm like, all right, so like, we're going to go back to the same thing, but like, if you all can't do this move to everyone in the gym today, you haven't figured it out yet. So you got more work to do. Like, you might be able to do it against some people. Can you do it to every dude? Can you do it to the so-and-so black belt? And they're like, haha, no. And I'm like, yeah, well, let's keep practicing it then. Like, you just still got more work to do. It's like, this stuff is like, all of these things have like layers. Like, we're excavating like an artifact. You might see the top of it and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I found something. And like, it works on the white belts or a couple blue belts, but like, just can't seem to get on the purple, brown, black belts. Well, that should tell you something. Like, let's stay that. I think it's fun to like continue to study the same things over and over again. And so I just like that as an example to like tell people why we keep doing stuff that we've done before. Cause I'm like, just trust me, you're going to need this. You're going to like, you're getting some rear naked chokes now, but like your rear naked choke is not done being refined. So let's embrace it. Embrace the quote unquote boredom. Embrace the challenge of going back to the same thing. And then, we'll do the novelty shit too.
Well, and some of it, like it goes back to the last episode, episode 65, not the last one, but
65.
It goes back to where we're talking about like why you're doing this. Sometimes it's just that you need to reframe that.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes the reason you start doing something changes, right? Like you started doing it for one reason, but now that reason isn't really fulfilling, or you've already fulfilled.
You accomplished it.
You've accomplished it. And so now you're getting bored because you don't really know why you're doing this. Right. Or, so you start to lose the motivation and it's a little more boring because you don't really have a purpose or a goal. So sometimes it's not that like, because you might still enjoy the people at your gym, but you just like you're just not getting that. So it's, the owner, well, I heard this from the owner of Origin, who heard it from somebody else, but he talked about how when he switched from actually making the stuff to running the business, like more as like the primary role, that he had to basically find a new way to get his dopamine. And so like he had to reestablish what he's doing and why, right? So same thing here. You need new dopamine, right? Like you need a new source.
Yeah.
And so because wherever you're trying to get it right now isn't working. So maybe, hey, like I'm going to find out why I'm doing this. All right. Well, I was doing it for the specific, I'll use me as an example here. I was doing jiu-jitsu to implement it in mixed martial arts so that I could win mixed martial arts fights, right? Like that was one of the reasons why I was doing it. Now, once I got what that caused was once I got frustrated with the things that were occurring in my MMA career that were creating roadblocks, that then affected my enjoyment of jiu-jitsu because it was no longer filling the goal that it was supposed to fill.
I see.
But once I said, you know what, hey, once I decided that I'm gonna shelf this MMA thing, that's not gonna work. Then I was like, oh, like jiu-jitsu is kind of fun again.
Yeah.
Like once I restructure, like I'm just gonna do jiu-jitsu to do jiu-jitsu, like that's gonna be the sport now. It made it a hell of a lot more, they became more fun.
There you go.
Other things happened that were outside of that control that I needed to do, but that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Like that's like we talked about life stuff, family stuff.
Yeah.
Financial stuff. You just have to do those things.
Yeah.
You got to handle that. But, like once I reframed that, it became a lot more enjoyable again.
Yeah.
So same thing can happen here if you're bored or, whatever, frustrated, that that might be a way to like
it might
be a way they can help you fix it. Sometimes it is an institutional thing where like, hey, like
this is like place, academy for me, perhaps.
Yeah, but if you're still enjoying the other aspects of that gym, it could just be that you need to think about why you're doing it again, and you know that reframing might help.
Hey, here's this may not, I'm just more of just a hypothesis idea, but and it may not be popular, but maybe this shouldn't be your dopamine fix.
Also possible.
Maybe that's the wrong way to look at it. Like, because if you're like looking at this as something to like feel some short-term reward,
I mean, you should have some amount.
No, you're right. That's why as I'm saying it, that's why I'm not sure if I'm going to think this through as I speak.
I think you are onto something with that. Like, if this might help. That like maybe it shouldn't be. Maybe that getting the dopamine fix shouldn't be the reason.
It should be like maybe a bonus when you get it.
Yeah. Like
we're on the same page. That's more or less what I'm thinking about too, bro. Which is if you're doing this because it's like a drug addict. Like I need that dopamine and it's not hitting. Well, it's gonna leave you wanting more. Because I'll tell you, dude, is like someone who does this. I've out many hours just this week, my 21st year of doing it. Like, I don't know if I'm getting any dopamine from it. I'm still enjoying it. I'm so glad I'm doing it. And part of that could be because maybe I literally think of it as it is my job. And there's like a low dose of like satisfaction and dopamine I get from just acknowledging that. But it's not like I go into like, there are definitely days where I feel like I'm doing a job. Most of the time I feel like I'm doing a job, but I have the gratitude knowing that I'm like, we've talked about this so many times. Like I'm glad it's my job. But I don't come out of it feeling like high.
Yeah, I mean,
high might not be the right word, but I don't have like these like major dopamine. But I have the satisfaction of knowing. Sure, no, sometimes. Yeah. I actually felt great yesterday after I kind of had a little bit of that after training yesterday. Since we're talking about it, but I have a satisfaction knowing that I'm like, cool, like the discipline of me doing the things making me better. But it's not this like, I'm not running around with like ear to ear grinning that I did it. Maybe that's me exposing my psychology here, but I'm still glad I'm still going to do it and I want to do it again. And I don't know, maybe it comes with like decades of doing it, and like a heavy degree of commitment and investment in it that it's just like your mindset shifts. Don't know. Because this is not to talk people out of these things. It's not to say that if you're still getting a dopamine hit, that's a bad thing. I'd say embrace it. Just like you said, try not to do it for that because that may not be there. It feels like we're talking a lot about like a marriage that's gone on for like, like I'm committed to this. So like, I'm going to keep doing it. But
I think that's to say that like, understand that there has to be jiu-jitsu requires a level of delayed gratification, right? Like it's, and I believe we've talked about, I don't have the episode number for this one, but we've definitely said this on another episode.
I'll try to make up a number.
We've probably a few episodes where we've talked about like, sometimes you just slog through it and then like you hit the move. And then you're just fucking excited and like, that's like, and you have the light bulb moment or, you know, you see a white belt do that. Like, that's part of the journey, right? Like sometimes it just sucks until it doesn't. I don't know. Like sometimes that's part of it. But like, if you understand that there's that delayed gratification, it does make it a lot easier. Like, I think that's part of it too. Like, it's a carrot on a stick. It's not like a box of chocolate. Like, I think like
that's interesting.
Sometimes you catch the carrot, but not always.
Yeah. Well, and I guess like maybe for me, I also accept like I'd like to think that because I'm married. I've been married to jiu-jitsu for 21 years. I have a deeper awareness and appreciation of it. There's just like certain things that you may not like. I try not to take for granted that like doing it like. There's like the physical exercise, there's like the physical discipline, like all the shit that we talk about, the ego stuff, like all that trite stuff is so true. And so I just think like, I may not feel this big boost of like pride or excitement from it all the time, but like I have a low dose, consistent awareness of like the value of it. That's why I keep doing it day in, day out, through all kinds of situations in life. Just keep doing it because I'm just like, I don't need the dopamine, I should say. It would be really cool if I had like constant dopamine hits. Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be so cool.
Yeah. I don't even get that from my nicotine anymore.
I think the expectation of like the constant dopamine probably probably also why a lot of blue belts quit, is that expectation comes from like the fact that as a white belt, it is pretty, like you get a lot. Yeah, because you're learning so much. Stage. It's so much new stuff.
You're in the honeymoon stage. You're in the honeymoon stage. When you're in the honeymoon stage, yeah, like you have that constant like mental like, whoa, oh, another new thing, another new thing, another new thing. Yeah.
And I think that probably like, and then you get like a depressive state at blue belt, and then a bunch of people quit because like you're so used to just constant immediate gratification.
That's right.
And you have to make that like mindset shift to be like, all right, hey, like I'm not gonna get my fix every single day now. Like I have to understand that I'm gonna have to wait. Like it's gonna be delayed. Like I'm gonna have these moments. It's still gonna happen. It's just not gonna be every day.
Is sneaking off to another gym like having a mistress? Is it like having like your mistress? You're like, yeah, dude, it feels like I'm 21 again. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, dude, you're spot on, man. Yeah, I think this conversation's been really interesting and it's taken a lot of turns, but
there's a lot. I mean, there's just a lot of different ways to look at this.
Yeah. You said it right. It's like the delayed gratification thing is really important. And I think just having like a baseline appreciation for what it is, it gets like funny. It goes back to like the corny things you'll see written on a wall when you walk into like even like a karate gym where it's like discipline, courage, like yada yada yada. Like it is that stuff. That's the stuff you have to appreciate that like you're doing. You may feel it a lot when you first start, and then kind of like what we talked about, where you do need to reframe your mindset, where it's like you'll feel like you kind of accomplished those things. You haven't fully accomplished them, but you accomplish a baseline entry level version of that makes you feel that boost of dopamine, as you said, every time you do it. And then because you've gotten that and you've gotten good at it, like the next level becomes harder to attain. And there's still going to be those days of excitement and dopamine, but it gets harder and harder to reach. But maybe you just have to take a step back sometimes and like really appreciate that you did that. And that like, yeah, it doesn't feel like I'm still getting that feeling anymore, but I know that it's there. I'm getting these things. I'm getting these values. It's just, the good news is like, hey, maybe you pat yourself on the back. You kind of did it. You've accomplished those goals, but you still have more discovery to do in each of those realms. It's just not going to, and maybe it's the mature lens of like looking at it, where it's like the commitment to doing it long-term will make you even better at all of those things. You may not feel it every single day, but you are heading in that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
What a deep conversation.
So deep. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely like that. You have to look at it that way. Right?
I mean, if you're going to play the long game, I think you do.
And yeah, you have to.
And we want people to play the long game. We want you guys to do this for decades. Like we want people to like, because selfishly, it's great for us to have more people who become like awesome black belts that we can train with, and we have and buddies.
Yeah,
that we can be like friends with, like our homies in the trenches, for years and years and years. But it's like good for you all listening too to like go down that road. Just like it should be a lifelong thing, in my opinion. I think that's why what we were saying. I'm like, I think embrace the dopamine, have fun with it, but like be prepared for it to not be there all the time. But like I think your reward system might even evolve, and less of like a focus on like that momentary hit to like a bigger picture, a broader version of it.
Yeah,
the rewarding aspects that run deeper and perhaps are harder to see, that take longer to develop, but they'll be there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good way to kind of
coach other people.
Yes,
help other people, because when you make this all very centric around what we want. Man, jiu-jitsu.
That's what jiu-jitsu is, man.
Yes,
it's a selfish sport, right?
It is, but I think
partially.
You know what? That's where when you're getting to these phases, maybe you need to just start thinking about other people.
Yeah,
because like depression and boredom and shit comes from people who think about themselves all the time.
Yeah, if you take it and be like,
we should ask John about that.
Yeah,
but I've heard that like that's where it comes from. It's like when you become so internally focused that like you obsess over the feelings that you have, and it's like think about yourself less and about the other people. Maybe start coaching, and then like you might even get the dopamine hit when that other person gets a dopamine hit. She's like, dude, sick, dude. I helped that white belt hit the Kimura.
That's how I get my dopamine now.
Well, you're kids now, dude. So you get to kind of like go through these like, you have to think about people other than yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's a more rewarding experience.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so to kind of summarize all of this, because we've touched on a few different
many things.
I want to make sure you guys get it all before we get into the
I want to get to those
part.
Yeah, the fun part.
But so you know, if you're in like the stress, anxiety phase, right, where this is out, like you've got other shit is going on, is like infiltrating your life from the gym maybe, and like it's just creating like a toxic relationship with jiu-jitsu. I think that maybe that's the way to frame it. Is like you have a way where you're getting bored, and you have a way where the relationship's getting toxic. If it's getting toxic, dude, take a break.
Yeah, confront it and like have an honest conversation about why that is the case, because maybe it's the place you're in.
Yeah,
maybe it's the mindset you're in.
Yeah, you need to look at like, all right, well, what is causing it? Is it where I am, or is it what I'm doing? Like, you know, those are important questions to ask. Probably, like those. I think that's the questions. Is like, is it where I am, or is it because of how I'm doing this, or why I'm doing this? The why is going to be pretty present in the whole thing. You know, where I am, is it where, why, or how, or what? It could just be that, hey man, maybe it's just jujitsu for a little bit. But, you know, like actually look inside and ask yourself like what's causing this. Figure out the friction point. And address it, you know, whether that's finding a new place, maybe reducing your frequency, maybe that helps, maybe stepping back and doing it in a lower, and, you know, being involved in a smaller capacity. That would be for that person, right? Now, if it's the person who's bored, like we just talked about, or we just said it, but like we just talked about, figure out why you're doing it, and figure out maybe it is that like dopamine withdrawal almost, and you just need to recognize that there is delayed gratification in this thing, and you know, maybe you need to restructure how you're doing jiu-jitsu or why you're doing jiu-jitsu, and that might help you get excited about it again, whether that's starting to teach, or again, another one could be maybe when you like mix it up a little bit, you cross train every once in a while, just get a little bit of variation in there. Or, you know, try out your gym might have different class times that just are different. Mix it up a little bit, get a little variation, start teaching other people, like find out how to make this, you can find ways to make this more enjoyable. Because ultimately, like if you like the people at the gym, you can make it work.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you said, sometimes you just need to find new gyms. Sometimes it is the place you're at and it's just not a good fit for you anymore. And that's okay too, because like everything changes. But let's get into the fun part.
I'm into it. Let's go.
All right. Combat Confessions.
Combat Confessions segment. Combat Confessions.
Version 2.0. This is the second
confession.
One, right? All right.
Might be a couple confessions.
I've got a couple good ones here. This one is this is shorter than the last one. But I was in open mat and I saw two people sitting, a white and a blue belt, sitting off to the side that were for about 20 minutes. So like sitting out rounds on the side for about 20 minutes. This guy was a brown belt. He walks up to him. They were women, and he asked them if he says, "Hey, would one of you like to roll?" They said yes, and then they both stood up and went and rolled with each other.
Oh no, he got snubbed.
He got snubbed. So that was I thought that was pretty funny.
That is funny.
Do you guys want to roll? Do one of you want to roll? Yeah, and then they go and roll together.
That's very funny.
I'll give one more off that thread because that's a short one, but I don't really have a lot of feedback on that one. I just thought that was a funny little story.
Yeah, it's funny. Too many factors are unknown to us.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very short quip, but I was like, dude, that's pretty good. Especially one of the comments on it was, do you think they were sitting there just waiting for someone to come up to them so they could do that?
Maybe. Which
would be weird. That's a pretty committed, like, to almost not training that day. Yeah. But it'd be funny if they were. Another thread. So one guy mentions people were comparing like jiu-jitsu injuries, and one guy mentions that he no longer has a nipple because someone bit it off while he was doing mother's milk. Like doing like a mother's milk submission.
Yeah. Now we're talking.
And so he was talking about that. Then another person chimes in below. This is from Reddit. Another person chimes in below and says that one of the black belts at his gym, I believe he was saying it was before he was a black belt, but one of them has a giant scar around his nipple because he mounted a white belt, and while applying pressure, I assume something similar to like doing a mother's milk position on this guy, or like a chest wrap or something, that the white belt then bites his nipple to try to escape and wouldn't let go. And so for 15 minutes, this guy is trying to figure out how to get this white belt off his chest.
For 15 minutes.
For 15 minutes. The guy wouldn't let go.
Who's the black belt now? That's funny. Weird. 15 minutes of him biting his titty.
Yeah.
No shit.
And so it kind of like people were asking questions about it.
Oh yeah, I got questions. I'd be asking questions.
But so one of the things was like, well, why didn't he like try to get him off? And the guy was like, well, like he said he thought about trying to like punch the guy, but he's worried if he punched him, he would bite harder. Like, so he just wasn't sure like how to address the situation.
Damn.
But like, what would you? I mean, like this one has a little more like, what would you do? Like,
I'd get him off me. I'd tap. I'd guess. I'd be like, I would indicate to him, you need to stop biting me.
I mean, for at 15 minutes though, I don't know if a tap's gonna matter.
It's got to be fake.
It might be a little extended.
These are fake, but it's probably 15 seconds. But that's so crazy. 15 minutes. I mean, yeah. I mean, the second if someone bit me in anywhere. I mean, yeah, that's we're gonna stop right away. And we're gonna talk about that.
It's like, this is over, dude.
Yeah, you get one warning. This is your only warning. You can't bite me. Can't bite anyone. What the hell are you doing? Yeah, I mean that's what I would try to do. Did the 15 minutes sounds like it's like was he training with like a pit bull or a gator or something, bro? It's like
right?
They're like
that's
like
some jaw power.
Seriously, like did you? This got to be fake. It just has to be fake because like how do you for 15 minutes not like, are we telling the guy as he's biting you, hey dude, let go, and he's unsuccessful for 15 minutes, and the 15th minute he's like, all right, I'll let go. Like what is happening for 15? That's got to be fake.
I'm imagining like
Reddit's full
everyone's like surrounding like talking the guy out of it as he's like,
it's like a hostage negotiation. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine. If it was for an extended period of time, this dude was doing more than just holding this guy in mouth.
Well, it did cross my mind when you mentioned earlier, like how much pressure were you putting on this white belt?
This dude was probably doing something a little
well, if someone bit you,
something enough to piss this.
Let's say this actually happened. Now I'm starting to think it didn't ever happen, but let's say it actually happened. Yes, I'm with you that someone in the biter in both scenarios. If they're both white belts, they panicked. They didn't know what to do, so they bit. So it's like a reaction out of fear and lack of awareness of the situation. That is like they're fighting for their life, like which I've seen white belts do when they go to like regular classes when they're just nervous. They're like, this is like a fight, so they spaz.
I get out.
That's the root of white belt spazzing, is that it's like they think they're fighting for their life, and you have to like do your job as an instructor or like a tenured training partner to be like, yo, I know it's new and it feels like that, but it's just practice. Like take it easy. Try to break you in now. But if someone's biting you, it's because, they think they're fighting for their life and they don't know what to do. So it's a little bit almost involuntary, which then, yes, in my opinion, especially also in the black belt, it kind of makes me wonder, why were you smashing this dude's face? Why were you should have the agency as a black belt mounting a white belt to not go so nutty that you're triggering this person to feel like they're fighting for their life. Like you ought to be able to mount with some compassion if you're a black belt.
Yeah.
Like you should have the skill set to do that. And again, I know nothing about the situation. Maybe he was doing that and the person still just bit his nipple, but it's so crazy.
I feel like there's probably
this scenario's
some
not
missing.
real.
I mean, I don't doubt that
if they're real, we are
someone else.
Okay, if let's say if they're real, bro, we're definitely missing critical data.
Oh, there's
critical
context. I bet you there's missing information, like
big time.
The one where like,
well, what were the rest of the Reddit comments? I want to know, like,
so
how many people were like, "You're lying. 15 minutes is unreal."
I know people were buying into it. I think people wanted to hear the story.
Oh, I want to hear the story.
I think
true or false.
I think so. What's funny is this whole thread prior to the first one being mentioned, like there's probably a little bit of like, I can top your story. I can top like prior to the first one, which I would think white belt bites a dude's nipple off, but doesn't hold. That was the first one. I mean, like if you got like. Someone, maybe he's a big dude, he's like shoving his chest in your face and like his nipple just happens to be in there and like you have that like moment of panic where you can't breathe like, and bite down? Maybe. I don't know. Like, I could see that being an involuntary action, is all I'm saying. Maybe the first one isn't malice, but if you hold on for 15 minutes, that's malicious intent.
15 minutes is crazy.
But I still think there's missing information. Something happened.
There's definitely missing information. This guy's a known biter.
But for
15 minutes.
The reverse punchline on this started because somebody said, somebody had commented on, had posted and said, one time a guy submitted me with a mother's milk submission, and afterwards I told him, hey man, like, good mother's milk, like, that sucked. And the dude said, no, it's daddy's milk.
Oh, weird.
Like he was insulted.
Dude, Reddit,
and then it led into this nipple-bite situation.
Reddit's already pissing me off. That is very funny. Dude, I would think if you get your nipple bit off, you have to do you get it surgically reattached?
I think they just...
Do you staple your titty back on?
I think they just...
You have to have antibiotics.
I think they just sew it... Like, I mean, they like clean it out, but like, I don't think they put the nipple back on.
You think it's done?
I think you just close it up. It doesn't. I mean, it's not functional,
right?
I think they just close.
It's cosmetic. Yeah. This is so weird. You would need antibiotics. Like,
you're going
some dude's nasty ass mouth.
Yeah, mouths are gross. Mouths are gross.
That's so weird. Like, you'll get like super staph. You'll get like some unknown weird shit from a dude who bites your nipple off. All right. Well, Reddit came through with another one unexpected.
Came through again.
I was not expecting that. It's the point of the segment.
If you guys
took me unawares,
if you guys want to be on in our combat confessions, drop us a note on.
The crazier the better.
Go to www.ftcpodcast.com. You can. There's a contact us form. Drop your thoughts in there, your stories. It could be a hot take, whatever you want. You can also go on there and leave us a voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little like microphone guy. There's also a page for it, but you can click on it. You can leave us a voicemail. If you leave us a voicemail, I will play it on the show. So if you want to do it anonymously, make up a fake name and do give us your belt rank, because that's fun. And then tell us your story. If you leave it on the contact us form, just tell me whether or not you want your name included. That's probably because I think it requires you to put the name in.
Okay.
So just tell me whether or not
you want
it
anonymous.
Included. But that was Fighters Drinking Coffee, guys. Thank you for listening. If you would like to support the show, again, you can go to www.fdcpodcast.com. Drop us like a review on there. Follow, subscribe wherever you're listening. Drop us a comment on there as well. Interact with us through the website. You can also, through the website, there's a donate page if you really love us. If not, just the other stuff is perfectly fine. We just like having your attention, I guess. And one last thing, our friend Asim Fayez has been kind enough to give us a discount code for you, the listener, so that you can get 50% off your first month with Nova Barbell Club. So you visit them, use the code I love coffee when you sign up. It'll give you 50% off your first month and help you get started in your jiu-jitsu strength and conditioning programs. I think that's it, guys. Love you. Bye.